I'm now ready to set up the exercise stroke textbook, which is called a class notebook. So if I go back to the Microsoft Office home, we've got class notebook here. What this enables me to do is just set out the basics of an exercise book that the kids see and that we see too. Let's go over to it and I'll explain a little bit more inside here. We get four options. Create a class notebook, which is where we're going now. Add or remove students, which we'll go to later. And same for teachers. Manage notebooks is when we've got the notebook created, we will usually use this icon to get into the notebook. So, first of all, let's create a class notebook and explain what's going on. First thing we need is, what is the class called? I'm going to set up a template rather than a class so that I can just copy this template. It's got all the sections and all the pages I want to begin with. So I'm going to call this template. And click on next. And it's created a few sections for me. We've got some section groups which will become familiar to you later. One called a collaboration space where both the students and the teachers can edit the content, so it's good for group work. We've got a content library which is very similar to the shared documents area where you can store worksheets and things for the pupils to open up, but they must make a copy themselves to edit it, so they can't change what you've put in there. And finally, we're going to have a section full of student notebooks. In your notebook, you will see each student's notebook, but in the student's notebook themselves, they will only see theirs. So we just click next to go through it. Now, we can give teachers permission to use this class notebook. I suggest that we do that later rather than now. You don't really want them in the template. You want to assign for different teachers. So click next, and the same goes for students. Do not enter them now, not even the group. If you did, it wouldn't recognise the fact that you've set up a group. The only way you can add students at the moment is by, again, adding them individually, which we don't want to do. Later on, I'll show you how to add the entire group. So just click next. Now, this is what appears inside each student's notebook. It's got a section for handouts, some for class notes, some for homework, some for quizzes. What I'm going to do is take out quizzes, take out handouts, and just have class notes and homework. But I'm going to add, these are like folders, organised folders, and I'm going to add a couple of folders for each term. So there's my term 1 folder, term 2, term 3, term 6. I'm going to add one more folder to the student's notebook, and it's to hold the sticker that goes on the front of the page, the Meg sticker. So if I just click on there and type Meg, I've now got a folder where I can put the Meg sticker, which we'll see later. So that's the basic layout of the student's book, what the student will see. It would be a good idea if you, before you actually finish setting up your template, if in the content library you mirrored this option so that you've got a mirror of their notebook, and that will become easy to use later on. So there we go, we've set up the notebook. Let's click next. So this is what you see as a teacher. You would see a collaboration space where we've got some group working, you've got a welcome message, which we're going to change a bit later on, we don't particularly want that. And we've got the content library, which is the shared document folder. If we hop over to the students version, you can see that the students got the welcome, the group space, the content library, the shared documents, and then they would have their name and all of the folders that we have just created. So the class notes, the homework, term 1 to term 6, and their Meg section. So that's how they would see it at the moment. We're going to do a bit of editing before we create the template, or you could just move on from this one, but I would advise you not to. It's do a bit of work when you set up the template to save you a lot of work later on. So we're ready with this one, so let's click create. It's just going to take a few minutes to actually set up the notebook. And there we go. So it's ready for you to use. So that's going to be the end of this video because we've set up a notebook. I'm going to actually close this one down and we'll come to it later. In the next video I'm going to show you how to set up the template.